Our state has some incredible problems. My name is Lynn Hinderrocker. I'm here to talk about that with you and talk about the trends that have shaped this state and dragged us in one direction or another. We're not really we're not realizing the dream we had way back in the early 2000s or even around 2008 or 9 or 10. My name is Lynn Hinderrocker. Welcome to WowBiz Nebraska. We're going to get it on right now. Just how stuck are you? I mean, are you deeply stuck? Are you kind of? Actually, what is the cost of being stuck? Many companies here in the Omaha and Nebraska area for 9, 10, 11 months are feeling very stuck. And yet the next 100 days, 130 days, time to come out of the chute. Now, you're not going to get it done unless you listen to this particular show, especially since Bruce Arendt is here. Bruce, you know I was coming around the corner.
I knew. I was wondering how you're going to work me in.
I was getting you in. Yes, Bruce Arendt is here, and I'm Lynn Hinderrocker with WowBiz Nebraska. Thanks for joining us here. We've got a lot of things to discuss. We're going to share very valuable information, strategic, and honestly, exercises and actual specific things that we can do to help our company break out.
Some practical ideas.
Practical ideas, break away from the pack.
Right.
But before we get to that,
yes.
But first,
yeah.
where does that come from, that idea?
I don't know.
I want to talk to you a little bit about last week. We got a couple books I want to show our audience, let them know about some business books that I think would be really appropriate.
Right.
But you and I attended a great mixer last week, and I've got a book here called You and Your Networks, written years ago by Fred Smith. There's many books about networking and the people that you hang out with and so on. This is one particularly good one in my opinion. But let's talk a little bit about that event and how you felt about it. And it was organized by Jim Beatty, who's a sponsor of this show sometimes. Tell me your thoughts about the Top Golf event.
Yeah, Jim Beatty Golf Ventures.
Yeah, Jim Beatty Golf Ventures.
And I am not a real big golfer, but I really, really had a great time going there. I felt like I made new friends. Yeah. I really did. I mean,
well, that's how you're supposed to leave when you feel when you leave, I think. Did you swing a golf club?
I did not.
I didn't either.
Because I've got a shoulder issue.
Oh, that's right.
But had I not had that, I would have loved trying that because what a cool venue. I mean, it really.
Oh,
really
yeah,
was.
and it's massive. It's overwhelming in the size, the scope, and it was pretty busy. I mean, it was like 75% full.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe that at this point in the whole quarantine situation. When you get there, it was like it's another world. Yeah. Although people are masked. Oh, yeah. At least some of them for a while. Right. So anyway,
but I felt like everybody who was in this group that we were in. Yeah. Very engaging. They were very open, and nobody was trying to sell anything to anybody else. It was just a matter of getting to know one another. Yeah. And I really enjoyed that.
Yeah. You know? How do you start a conversation if you're standing around at the perimeter of a group and there's people around and they're doing it? How do you feel like you kind of get a dialogue going with somebody and so on? How do you do it?
Hey, baby, what's your number?
No.
Just no. It depends on the venue. It depends on what's going on.
Yeah.
I usually will ask something like, for instance, in this, well, how is it that you know Jim Beatty? What's your connection to this whole group or whatever? That'll open the door.
That makes great sense.
Right.
Or do you golf in this particular case?
Right.
You know, that was kind of provided a backdrop, almost a theater curtain to everything that was going on there. I agree with you. I found that people were unusually open to chatting.
And it could be because we've all been cooped up for so long.
That's what I really do think that had part of it. People were like, just get me out of the house.
Relief just to be out and be among other people. Yeah. And I really felt that way too. It was such a nice feeling just to be in the company of other people in a safe way, but really actually interacting with people.
I completely agree. And it was interesting to me. I thought to myself, well, I'm sitting here with one person and having a nice chat with him, but I should really move around, and circulate. I wouldn't mind getting some client prospects on the old Rolodex, as they say. Right. So, I'm starting to move around, and I thought to myself, now how do I approach this person and not put them on the defensive? Right. And so in a couple of cases I said, I'm co-hosting this event. I want to make sure I say hi to you. Who are you?
Well,
blah, blah.
That's good.
Which went fine. Yeah. But I was surprised at how easy it was to kind of get into what I really did want to discuss, which was how's their business? Right. And maybe how could I help,
And I did circle around to what kind of business these people were in.
You did,
too.
yeah.
Of course, yeah. I mean, it just becomes a natural flow of the conversation.
Yeah.
But it was, the whole event was very non-threatening, very comfortable.
Yeah, because I've been to a lot of networking events where, in fact, it is a little cliquey, and people, you kind of have to circle around, try to find some way, how can I get into the flow of things?
Right.
And I end up near the food tray, you know, somewhere, waiting for somebody to come ask me about my deviled egg. Anyway, that was a very interesting event, and we want to thank Jim Beatty for spearheading it.
What a nice guy.
Very nice guy. Everybody likes him, and he really knows how to pull people together. So there's definitely a skill there. You know, this is a topic that's related to this, and I want to share this with you, go a little deeper here. Okay. This is a book that I think is probably one of the most 5 or 10 most profound books I've ever read in my life.
Wow, that's quite a statement.
Oh, well,
because you've read a lot of books.
At least skimmed a few. But anyway, this is called Frequency. Now, and it's written by a lady named Penny Pierce, and she talks about the power of personal vibration. Now, this is really an interesting thing, because when I go into a group mixer like we've just been discussing, I'm thinking to myself, what are the vibes? I just unconsciously kind of think about that. And how does it feel in here, and so on. And she would say, Penny would say, that is a quality that we all have, and we probably should, you know, like intensify it.
Right, exercise it a little bit more.
A little bit more, and rely on it. You know, everybody's saying, hey, it's artificial intelligence, it's robotics, data is where it's all at in the world of business today. And she's saying, she's going to the other side of the curve and saying, intuition is where it's really at.
I think that's, I mean, I've always felt like that, so powerful. I have at least I think I am fairly pretty intuitive in terms of reading a person, you know, reading getting the vibe of a person as to, I don't know everything about them, but you just sort of get a sense about them, and you then know how to interact, or how do you dance with them, so to speak, you know?
Thank you so much for saying this. I love this conversation. We should probably talk more about it later on, but you know, I had an opportunity about a year ago to do some presenting to an accounting group, an association of accountants, CPAs, and so on. And I slipped into, towards the end of the thing, I was talking about your employees, cultivating a rapport with them and helping them be their best self and all that. Right. And I said, you need to have a high frequency conversation with your employees, especially your younger ones.
Did they get that?
No, they didn't get that. And I said to myself, oh, I made a mistake, because I've been reading this book now for a number of years. Yeah. And I like to have and I said, you know what a high frequency conversation is? It's when you get around to some truth or some statement that makes the hair stand up on your back, so to speak. Something that you wouldn't ordinarily say, but you know it's extremely relevant and maybe powerful. And so. And they looked at me like,
kind of glazed over.
What is this man thinking about? Who are you? And I said, how sad in a way.
Well, it is a thing. I think it's an innate, I don't know if it's a gift or what, but it's a quality that people either sort of have or they don't have.
Yeah.
I think, and I may be wrong there, I don't know. Maybe you can learn it a little bit.
Do you know where the bridge is? And, you know, if somebody says, well, I don't know what you're talking about, you know. Go into sales. In sales, the people who know how to read other people, read their vibes, and project a positive vibe, shall we say, kind of work at a higher frequency, and talk about their product or service or whatever it is in terms of its significance.
Yeah.
This is the key.
Yeah.
And then people go, oh, geez, you know, it kind of, you have to be able to lift the conversation.
Yeah.
You know? Or something that I have a tendency to do too much is I'll mention to somebody who's a relative stranger, I'll say, well, my wife said blah, 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 and it just blew my mind. Well, and immediately they're going, well, this guy's telling me he's married and about his wife and something like that, you know. And so then they feel like they can kind of say something. Well, you know, my older daughter's similar to that, and she has the same problem, blah, blah, blah. And pretty soon we're having this really tight
relating back
conversation.
Yep.
And then sometimes at the back end of that, I can sell somebody something, but, you know, not necessarily. But you know what I'm getting at.
Oh, I know exactly. Yeah.
That's a very interesting thing. We've got one more book here, this first half of the show I want to chat a little bit about, and that is, you know, we talked before about alliances and ecosystems, and I know that those of you at home are wondering, where are we going here? And I just have to say, this particular book's called The Death of Competition by James Moore. I think he's a brilliant, brilliant man. I'd never read before, and this is an older book, my goodness, coming out of the 90s, okay? Wow. It's quite a ways ago. But this is how I would categorize the gist of the book: a critical evolutionary step to inspire lasting change. Just think about it for a second. If you wake up every day and say, I want to be responsible for generating a lasting change and making some kind of a critical evolutionary step. And what that, in his opinion, that means integrating technologies. You know, so working with you, and I'll work with you, and then we'll bring our technologies together, like, for instance, CRM, customer response management, stuff like that.
Right.
And making it work maybe with our printer or our audio thing or any of our email systems. You know what I'm saying? Where you combine a CRM system maybe with an email blast. And so you're bringing two technologies together and creating something that's even better.
Huh. So this concept would not have been possible, let's say, 50 years ago?
Oh, no. Well, I don't know, about 50, I guess. I don't know. It doesn't have to be driven by technology, by the way. No.
Okay.
But there is a way, in other words, thinking about systems, actually broadening and raising your notion. Somebody says, we've got to have a plan for the next few months.
Right.
That's very normal.
Sure.
And so everybody says, well, just take all the parts and pieces, things we've already done before, and and we'll figure out who we sell what to who, and we'll be good, you know. But this guy, James Moore, and people who kind of believe in what he's saying right there, would say, no. Invent a whole new, Don't scramble for market share and trying to get your piece and they don't get their piece.
Yeah. Don't rehash the hash.
Right. Instead, go over here and reinvent an entire ecosystem. Reinvent the industry is what we're really talking about.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's entirely possible. I know I've given you this idea before, and I'll briefly mention it, but Cirque du Soleil reinvented the circus business.
Yes.
And now it's $250 a seat in Las Vegas.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, right.
It's thinking at that level and saying we don't have to be confined to the way the game is being played here. Let's go over here and find some other way to play the game.
That's a perfect example.
Huh?
It's perfect.
And that's going to segue to the back end of the show. We actually talk about those kinds of things when we talk about how to bust out, get new momentum, energize, trigger. I'm trying to think of metaphors. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, we got to get out of a rut, and every company would agree.
And it's such a mental game for people because we get so stuck in our own trench, our own rut.
And I think we're over-relying on our intellect. We all have great intellect, we become smarter and so on and so on, but we over-rely on the intellectual part of and we dismiss and don't even realize the intuitive part that we've been talking about.
The frequency.
All right, the frequency. Bruce Arendt, right here with WowBiz Nebraska. I'm Lynn Hinderrocker, and I'm having a ball talking to him. You better be scratching this stuff down or give me a call to find out more. But I've got something I want to share with you here in terms of the promotional sponsorship of this particular show, WowBiz Nebraska. I'm Lynn Hinderrocker one more time, and I want to chat with you for just a moment about a brand new store that's been around a long time. Now, how can that be? I'm going to talk to you about Outdoor Kitchen and Patio here in the Omaha, Nebraska area. Now, this store is, if you think about the center of the storm, the kind of a store that sells products that people want so badly right now. I mean, the timing's just unbelievable because we've all been quarantined, we've been kind of pent up. And when you invest in a new patio set or that kind of outdoor, what you do is you unleash the spirit, the psyche individually, the psyche of your family. Go outdoors, and all kinds of new possibilities are available with a new setup, new chairs and tables and so on and so forth. And that is where it's at today. I mean, it's a symbol of what really is happening in a larger sense. But I want to chat with you about the new owner. His name's Kelly. He's the new owner of Outdoor Kitchen and Patio. And let me tell you, this is a beautiful store. It's a big store, but it's not like a closeout or a clearance store. This is the kind of store when you walk in, you realize, I can live a new lifestyle, right? There's just this pent-up feeling. I want to be close to nature. Sounds ridiculous, but I'm more relaxed, I'm more calm, I'm centered. I get out there, we have different kinds of meals, we become more adventuresome when we have a little picnic or some kind of food outdoors. You got to refresh your life now. This is the period of time that we're at in 2021 where you're looking for a few little things that kind of remind you that we're not here forever. This is a speed bump in the parking lot of life, okay? And the best way to let yourself be aware of that. Remember that is to go sit outside and rest and relax and entertain. Bring somebody in that you're haven't chatted with for a long time, maybe an employee or just somebody down the street, somebody you barely know, you say hi to and say, come on over, have a sit down, we'll have a cup of coffee, have a drink, whatever you'd like to do, and relax. And I tell you what, it's one of the most profound indulgences. And there are 6 or 7 different ways that you use this kind of furniture. We're talking now outdoor kitchens, right? So think about the recipes and the food adventure. That's the whole deal there. And then of course, again, the patios. And this is a plain, very few things work like this, but this is a place to like almost meditate, kind of read a book or sit outside or come bring yourself down. Or on the other hand, kind of unleash and be gregarious and extroverted, even though that's not your normal style, because it's an environmental thing. Now, I call it, and I'm going to wrap this up and let you know right now, don't forget about this. This is urban natural. Yes, indeed. This furniture, this kitchen, this patios, inside out, outside in, it's urban natural lifestyle, and it's a critical part of your revitalization, personally and professionally. Get outdoors with a new setup from Outdoor Kitchen and Patio. I'm Len Hinderrocker, and thank you. Let me know how it goes. I know you're going to love it. All right. We're right here in WowBiz, Nebraska. Thanks for listening to us today. And you know what? This is a big show. Bruce Arent is here, pleasuring us with his presence. Another alliterative reference.
Okay, keep going. Yep.
You're liking this.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. And so we're talking about some important stuff, which is kind of how to get out of this rut, how to get unstuck. Now, don't let anybody tell you that oh no, we're not stuck, we're fine, you know. Don't believe that, all right? Don't believe that at all. Now, there are industries, of course, that have done very well. We know that. Grocery stores are doing pretty well, and of course, Amazon's doing well. Sure. Delivery companies. I hear there's a new delivery company getting started here in town.
Really?
Here in Omaha, yeah. And you know, it makes perfect sense because some of the prices that are charged by the delivery services is pretty premium, pretty pricey. And you know, you can call McDonald's right now, you know, and say, send me over a hamburger.
We'd have it before the end of the show here,
let's do that.
The thing is, though, with people being stuck, it's really, in my mind, it comes down to almost more on an individual, personal basis.
Yeah.
I think so many people I've talked
to
lately, it is, they just feel like they're just like so done with this situation, and they feel stuck.
Yeah, it's that fixed mindset versus what Eric Ries calls in his book, the startup, the lean startup, and so on. He uses this word, the growth mindset,
right? Which
is it's all about possibilities. Mm-hmm. And I find that when I've been doing this for quite a while now, when I sit down with people and they say, you know, tell me something, all right, what are we talking about here, you know? And eventually it always gravitates to new possibilities, new ideas, and that somehow enlivens them. Well, on that note, let's get to this book right here, shall we? Which is Unstuck. Of course, that's the key. That's our theme for the presentation today, and we're chatting here with Bruce Arent about how to get unstuck. And you know, Bruce, there are a number of different tactics, different ways to think about it. But I know that you've been reviewing a few of these ideas, and I kind of like to know, because I'm always want to know about what's going on in your brain.
Right. Such a mystery.
For instance, here's an idea. Write a headline about the future, right? What's it going to be, and what's going to be your achievement? And what's it going to look like when it's publicized, right? And then you get that concrete, and then you step back, I think, and figure out what steps would it take from here to get to actually pull that off.
I think that would be a good exercise, not only for a business owner, but also for the employees in a company.
Yes.
As a group exercise.
Yes.
What is their own personal headline, and maybe what if they want to extrapolate that to the company they work for.
Sure, of course.
What is the headline, and then they could, you know, what is their part in that? What is their role
I love this idea.
in getting from today to that headline somewhere down the road? You might say, you know, maybe it's 5 years from now, or what? Yeah. Maybe you don't even have to put a time frame on it, but.
What are the steps, though?
But what are the steps? That's the important part.
That's a key.
Right.
Let's look at another one. Create a movement that reflects the next level or trend in your industry, and then come up with a name for it. Come up with a name for the movement. Now, I use the word urban natural. I have to tell you, I think that's a major trend.
Right.
I utilize it, and I drop that word, and I explain he's urban natural. This place is urban natural. So, I mean, that's just one
There's
example.
also Nebraska.
There is Nebraska,
right.
And I think everything is new every minute, every moment, every breath is new, but I don't want to go down that road right now. But I'm just saying, Have you ever been part of this where you have to dream up a word that people go, yeah, that's what we're all about?
I have. It's been, and I couldn't even pull that out of my memory right now, but I know that I've done that.
You've experienced that?
In my corporate life in the past, yes.
I can see it left a deep implant on you. Okay, now here's a real interesting thing, which is let your soul be your guide. And we're talking here about team culture. And this is very powerful because the idea is to enumerate the values that we believe in and that guide us, these values, when we're in stress or we're overwhelmed or we can't get that job done. We promised the boss I'd do that, but I can't do that. And somebody steps up, you know.
Right.
I know a company here in the Omaha area that actually had somebody come in and help them craft a customized, like a booklet of the values that you know, animate and energize the employee base.
Interesting.
Very
kind of
interesting.
Keeps everybody going in the same direction.
He loved it. This particular guy said, "Glenn, you got to look at this, man." And he said, because it gives you freedom. You know what they value, and you know what they don't value.
Right.
So
you don't waste time on things that don't fit into the value system. Right?
Yes.
Is that
and you
right?
don't walk by somebody who you know is struggling with an issue. In fact, you look for ways. What are you working on? Anything I can do way to help you? And you know, it's like you get 3 points for doing that.
Right. And not just in the sense of what are you working on, but can I help you?
Yeah, can I help you? Yeah. So that's
important.
I thought that was interesting. And also, you know, there's a tendency at the very beginning of this dialogue, people say, you know, we do great. We've done well. We make a lot of money. We started out years ago. We got a good system, blah, blah, blah. I just don't know, you know, whether we really need to worry much more about innovating or, you know, just repeat the same system, you know.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. That
all that, you know. Yeah. And what we've learned here from this particular book is that it's very helpful to bring in outsiders who have can kind of like shock you or your group and provide a different perspective from outside and say, you know, this is what I believe in, you know. And,
there's so much value in that because we all of us, if we're used to just creating within the same arena all the time, kind of in a vacuum, so to speak, to have somebody with a different perspective come in, it might not even seem like it's right, but maybe sometimes the more you think about it, you think, you know, we hadn't thought of it that way. Maybe there's something to it. There's a lot of value there.
We're going to return to this particular topic, and I'm going to give you one specific example, not now, but I want our viewers to remember this and try to check out. This is a deeper, kind of a more lengthy discussion, but it has to do with a proposal that we are creating for North Omaha. And we have a fresh vision for that whole community. And but it takes some time to go through it.
Right.
But it's an example of kind of where we're at. And then this last one here, I love it. It's a great idea. And Elon Musk, by the way, buys into this concept, which is have a moonshot. That's the word that's used, and he's used that. He said, we're moonshot thinkers, which I think implies, big thinkers.
It's like Kennedy's speech
exactly
about going to the moon.
Yeah, absolutely. But it provides questions that we have to answer, and I'm going to list them real quick. Why do you exist? This is a little bit like Simon Sinek into the why thing, you know? What must your team accomplish before you consider yourself a success? Now, that's a tough one. You know, could be an internal, subjective thing, or we have to make this much money, and otherwise we haven't succeeded, right? What is your contribution specifically to the success that we're just discussing right now?
I think that's probably one of the biggest things. People have to really invest themselves in it. I think.
What happens though is we hide behind our job description.
Right.
Well, it says we should do this, and I do that when I come in. I do this, and I do that. So I'm doing my job.
My job is his job.
Yeah. Right. I'm doing my contribution right now.
Right.
And so I think this is trying to say, look, nothing spectacular, nothing exponential, nothing creative is going to come out of that response. We're looking for something that it isn't just an incremental move forward. You're not going to be able to break out break out of the pack that way. And you have to sense that. You say, well, I'm kind of BS in here a little bit. Maybe I need to think a little more profoundly and think at a higher level. Once again, as we talked earlier, reinvent the industry that we're in.
Right. Easier said than done, but
easier said than done.
Still worth the effort.
You know, we've talked before about blue ocean thinking. Blue Ocean Shift was a book that was used for years. One of the things that I think about that would be just to let people know that this can be done. All right, this isn't a bunch of guys just theory. Back in the days, maybe 15 years ago, when laser printers were just hit, and as you know, the companies that were buying them, they were maybe like $5,000 to $10,000. Big companies, you know, and kicking out these fancy decks, you know, PowerPoint decks and beautiful color and all that stuff. But there are all these people running around for a couple of years after that were like salespeople, freelancers, you know, very small businesses, and they wanted the same kind of a high quality paper reproduction, right? And Canon observed, right? They maybe hired a researcher. That would be a good thing to do. But somebody was insightful and said, you know, there's a whole segment of people out there. They don't have a lot of money, but they want the same basic benefits. And Canon said, I'm going to go back here. I'm going to redesign laser printers. I'm going to make it $450, you know. It's going to be light. You can put it in the back seat of the car, right? All of a sudden, boom.
It's like the personal computer. Now you've got a personal laser printer.
Exactly, exactly. And it was a market segment that, you know, the first guys didn't even know, didn't care about.
Right.
So I want to say this to our viewers here at WowBiz Nebraska. Remember, this is very doable. We're talking about reinventing the industry. It can be done. Market segments that you're not even thinking about. They want you. At least they want components of what you have to offer. This can be done. You can get unstuck, but you do need a catalyst. All right? You do need some way kind of shock you out of your thinking pattern.
Right.
Isn't that right?
Another perspective. Another
perspective that you take seriously and say, what are the action steps associated with that? We'll do it. I've had the opportunity to kind of lead a few of those initiatives in my life, and they're so rewarding because everybody's skeptical. 1/3 of the people don't believe it at all. It's all a bunch of nonsense. 1/3 of the people go, yeah, we got to do this. It's overdue. We got to go. Then there's the other third. It's like, I'll run with it if it works out, and then I'll associate myself with it at that time. Yeah. And this is exactly how these initiatives go. But never in our lifetime has it been more important to accept the truisms that I'm sharing with you today. Yeah. Absolutely.
Absolutely. It makes total sense for any business of any size, really.
And let's all circle back and say, remember that The Death of Competition by James Moore can give you a little template there. But whatever you do, look for somebody who's operating at the same frequency as you are, or maybe somebody that's lifting you up, kind of a higher level, right? Pick up the book Unstuck and make sure you watch WowBiz Nebraska as often as possible. I'm Lynn Hinderrocker with Bruce Arendt. Thank you so much. And make sure, by the way, that you go out to 121st and West Center to Bel Air Plaza. Check out the new reconceived and reinvented outdoor kitchen and patio. I promise you, it will open up your life at the right time. Thanks so much. We'll see you next time.